Dr. Avinash, I think we can start, I think.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes, Dr. Deepu.
Yeah. Can we start now? I think it's 7,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. Yes, we can start.
Dr. Shehla, I think, yeah.
Dr. Sara.
Knowledge is wealth in a foreign land. Intelligence is wealth in tough times. Righteousness is wealth in other
इसको
world.
आवाज नहीं आ रहा है.
Good character is wealth everywhere and at all times. A very good evening to everyone. I, Sara, from IHMA Mangalore, take this pleasure to host today's webinar. Before proceeding, I would like to salute our Master Samuel Hahnemann, who is a great role model for all homeopaths. Without him, we are nothing today. Thank you, Master. As we all know, right now we are in the crisis of COVID, and many doctors have succumbed to COVID. IHMA Karnataka mourns to the death of doctors of all fields. Let us have a silence remembering each departed soul. Okay, thank you. Now, I would like to give a small introduction on IHMA. IHMA, Indian Homeopathic Medical Association. The national platform for all the qualified homeopaths is now a synonym for quality in all aspects of homeopathy in our country. The prime aim of IHMA from the very inception onwards was to improve the quality and standards of homeopathic system in our country and its followers. The then leaders and later their followers attributed paramount importance in providing continued medical education to the members, which are of superior quality by developing faculty pool with high quality teachers and practitioners with total dedication and commitment to the system. As you all are aware, even during these troubled times, IHMA webinars are running in packed houses. IHMA also is keen in its service and commitment to the public by providing free medical camps and awareness classes throughout the countries, and also is far ahead in taking care of its members by launching novel supporting projects like Social Security Scheme. Now, I'd like to give a small introduction on IHMA Mangalore. IHMA Mangalore chapter was started 20 years back. From then onwards, till now, it is involved in various meaningful activities like regular CME, national conferences, free weekly clinic for poor, voice for various social issues, preventive medicines distribution for masses, family meets, etc. That was all about IHMA in brief. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Praveen Rai, President of Indian Homeopathic Medical Association, Mangalore, to formally welcome the gathering and also to give a presidential address.
Thank you, Sarah. Good evening, everybody. Myself, Dr. Praveen Kumar Rai, President of IHMA Mangalore, Karnataka. It's an extreme honor for me to address you today in the webinar hosted by IHMA Karnataka chapter. I'm overwhelmed to inform you during the first wave of COVID-19, we were dedicated ourselves for free distribution of homeopathic immunity booster for the frontline COVID warriors in and around Karnataka. It was a successful drive organized by IHM chapter. This time during the second wave, we are also concentrating on updating with the newer challenges. Being a responsible homeopathic association, our motto is to help in the continuing education of fellow homeopaths with the CMEs and conferences. But due to present COVID restrictions, it is way far to reality to conduct physical seminars or conferences. So we are also adapted to new era of webinar. As a result of this national conference webinar series Saukya was planned. It is extremely important to understand COVID-19 as well as newer challenges like mucormycosis. that would help us in the effective management of these conditions through homeopathy. Today, we are fortunate to have an expert in the field who treats and manages successfully COVID patients in ICU with the homeopathy integration. Dr. Jaswant Patil, who is an eminent chest physician, also a homeopath with vast knowledge of treating COVID and mucormycosis. When we approached him, he readily agreed out of his busy schedule to share his knowledge with us today. So I welcome wholeheartedly from on behalf of IHMA Karnataka for this today's session. Also, it's my pleasure to welcome today's inaugurator of the session, Dr. Bashir Sir, National President in charge. I welcome you, sir. Also, would like to welcome our guest of honor today, Dr. Anantaraman, National Secretary General. Welcome you, sir. With the due respect, it's my responsibility to welcome one and all of our NWC members, office bearers of Mangalore Karnataka chapter, who are always the backbone of IHMA. Without them, this webinar wouldn't have happened. Last but not the least, I welcome each delegates. Already we reached 500 with what you are showing. So this is full packed. So I welcome all the delegates across India or abroad who are spending their valuable Sunday evening for this learning session. Welcome you one and all. Before I concluding, I would like to add a small note on this crisis of COVID. Today, we mankind has witnessing greatest crisis of millennium, we can say, in the form of COVID-19. Many homeopaths were treating successfully cases of COVID in our own setup, in our clinic, but without much limelight. It's time to show the world that what we homeopaths are capable of. So I request of my fellow homeopaths to do documentation of your cases, collect the statistics, share as much as possible in the social media, provoke your cured patient. That is our most priority. Patients are our main source of advertisement. Once the word of mouth comes from the patients, the cured patient, when they share their journey of recovery with the homeopathy, that will reach one fine day to the higher authority. So I strongly believe homeopathy stands above all. Homeopaths may come and go, but homeopathy needs our smallest contribution to overcome these critics or propaganda. So with the small note of requesting you all to support IHMA and the system of homeopathy and making it stronger by becoming a life members, and also making our upcoming webinar series Saukya grand success. Thank you. Once again, I welcome you wholeheartedly to this webinar series. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your earnest welcome address. Now, I would like to call upon Dr. Bashir, National President in charge of IHMA, to officially inaugurate Saukya free webinar on COVID and further address the gatherings.
Very good evening, my dear colleagues and doctors, Dr. Praveen Raj, my Secretary General, Dr. Anantaraman, Dr. Praveen Rai from Mangalore, and our important guest today, our speaker, Dr. and very respected members, those who are attending the gathering. First of all, let me excuse you. Like, it was a short notice. I was out of station. I rushed. Somehow I managed to reach home. So, to talk about something about Indian Homeopathic Medical Association IHMA, of course, you have heard the small introductory speech made by Dr. Shahla from Mangalore, and also some of the aims and objectives of the association by Dr. Praveen Rai from Mangalore. Here, I would like to share a few things regarding IHMA. IHMA, in this short period of time, in the very tough time of COVID-19, more than 400 webinars, most of the topics or most of the areas covered were on COVID itself. Even though other subjects were covered, we were very keen to update the knowledge of our members. So I'm very happy to say you that. Another thing, many other areas IHMA is concentrating. First of all, involving or the activities or to mobilize our ideas to the governments, either in the national level or the states. We are stressing on the need of refreshing the syllabuses, the need of government homeopathic hospitals, dispensaries, and we are influencing on that. And since many years, we are having success also. The best example I can say you, more than 1,400 government dispensaries are there as regular dispensaries, regular PSC dispensaries and NHM dispensaries in Kerala itself. Likewise, in all the areas, we should stand together and influence the governments to gain our needs in the government sector too. Of course, in private sector, doctors are doing very well, and we are supporting all the sectors of doctors, either they are private doctors, government doctors, teachers, faculties, those who are doing researchers. We IHMA concentrating all the areas of interest for a homeopath and for the community, the national also. Anyway, only one thing I would like to say, Dr. Anantharaman will be speaking something regarding about the other matters of association, which the time we need to. I would like to say, IHMA is published a treatment protocol for COVID, and it will be shared in here. I will ask the organizers to share with you. And also, we have formed a national level COVID helpline number. That will also be shared here. Any doctor having doubt in treating or knowing any details regarding the COVID treatment, please approach us. Please utilize that. It will be shared here for you. With these words, I would like to declare that this webinar on COVID-19 mucormycosis treatment approach by Dr. Jaswant Patil is inaugurated officially. Thank you. I'm very grateful to the organizers for inviting me for this such a auspicious occasion. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to call upon Dr. Anantharaman, National Secretary General of IHMA, to give a keynote address.
Good evening, respected Dr. Bashir, the National President of IHMA, senior NWC members, the office bearers of IHMA Karnataka chapter and the Mangalore chapter, the organizers of this webinar series, and your respected Dr. Jaswant Patil sir, the faculty of today's webinar. It gives us a great pleasure to observe that all the state chapters of IHMA have been involved in upgrading the knowledge of fellow homeopathic doctors by conducting lots and lots of webinars, and all the webinars are very well attended, and it gives a lot of opportunity for doctors to upgrade their own knowledge. And we know that it's one of the most difficult times we have faced in our lifetime, and successful people use this difficult time as an opportunity, and IHMA believes in that. And it has made a very good opportunity whereby we can improve our knowledge in various fields, especially treating and managing the COVID-19 disease. And IHMA has been very forthcoming in doing a lot of social responsibility activities like distributing immune boosters, or creating a treatment protocol for COVID-19, and helping doctors to manage COVID-19 successfully, thereby giving a very good contribution in this period of crisis. I am very much overwhelmed and happy that IHMA Karnataka chapter is doing this webinar series. I am sure that this will be very, very useful to all the attending homeopathic doctors, and I eagerly await today's talk on management of COVID-19 and mucormycosis by the most respected Dr. Jaswant Patel. Once again, I congratulate and appreciate the organizers behind this webinar series, and best wishes to the chapter. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The world is full of diamond and gems, and we are having some of them here today to build this event. I'd request the most honorable personality, Dr. Jaswant Patel, to take in hand the audience.
Good evening, friends. Namaskar. I thank Saukhya IHMA Karnataka to give me opportunity and invite me to talk on the second wave of COVID-19 cases, particularly of the ICU, and the most current problem on mucormycosis, which has baffled the whole of the India. I thank Dr. Avinash who called me, and he said I was really very busy with a lot of cases of ICU. And I said I could do, and I could get only today time to arrange my all the slides and present one case, because there are many cases, but time is a restrictions. But this one case that I'm going to present today has taught me every complications of COVID-19 managed by homeopathy with the integrated approach into ICU cases. I'm an allopath. Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, I'm really sorry. Before, I would like to call Dr. Greta Lobo to give a small introduction of our today's speaker, that is you, Dr. Jaswant Patel. I'm really sorry, sir.
No problems.
Good evening, everyone. It's a great privilege for me to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Jaswant Patel, BHMS, MBBS, MD Chest, a researcher, speaker, teacher, a allopathic MD doctor, converted as a homeopathy doctor. Sir has completed his MBBS in 1982 from Grand Medical College, Mumbai. He completed his MD Chest from Seth GS Medical College, Mumbai in 1987. And during his mother's critical illness, when she did not respond well to allopathic medications and homeopathic medicine, arsenic IO 200 helped her, he became interested in homeopathy and studied it and got his BHMS degree in 2012, almost 30 years after his MBBS degree. As an allopath, he has got vast knowledge of diagnosis, prognosis, basic anatomy, physiology, and pathology, because of which he is able to analyze the cases and treat with the right homeopathic medicine in critical and emergency cases. Sir has worked as a lecturer of respiratory medicine, training MD residents in KEM Hospital from 1988 to 1990. He has worked as a chief resident and in charge of intensive respiratory care unit and handling additional charge of fibro-optic bronchoscopy department from 1984 to 1987 in KEM Hospital. He assisted HOD of respiratory medicine in treating victims of Bhopal gas poisoning and writing articles. He worked in R.N. Cooper Hospital as registrar in intensive care unit. He worked as a resident doctor in general medicine and cardiology in Jeslock Hospital from 1983 to 1984 and managed ICU for general and heart emergencies. Present, he is the chairman of Deep Ganga Total Health Solutions. Established DG Total Health Solutions with the aim of treating patients with holistic approach. He worked as an integrated practitioner focusing on homeopathy and allopathy for treating critical cases. He also has studied other 117 alternative sciences to help his patients. He treats both chronic and emergency cases mainly by homeopathy. Hope all of us will learn from Sir's vast experience. Today, he'll be speaking on integrated approach on treatment of COVID and mucormycosis. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Dr. Jaswant Patel to take in hand the audience.
Thank you, ma'am, for introducing me so nicely in short. But my journey from allopathy started in homeopathy after my mother's case, which I have discussed in many seminars. After that, I was very much, happy, as if I have found some new tool where the patients get stuck and not getting response to the further allopathic treatment. I used to use homeopathy and I used to get results. So that is how I learned the integration. And in my own nursing home in Jalgaon, with 20-bedded nursing home and 3-bed ICU, it was small nursing home, but there the mortality rate came down. The discharge from the ICU was quite earlier. We know from the ventilator was much better and faster. And the follow-up for the whole year was very nice. It has given me immense pleasure of learning homeopathy, but it was a self-learned homeopathy based. My prescriptions were all clinically based. I was not knowing ABC about organon and the principles of homeopathy, but still I was getting the best results. Combination of allopathy with homeopathy. And this is how my journey started. And finally, then I thought that I should be into a homeopathic mainstream. So I took admission and got BHMS degree. I was happy that day very much that I'm now into the mainstream of homeopathy. I thank you all for patient listening. And I thank you all for introducing me. Dr. Avinash called me and it was really a hard time because of many COVID cases, and it is really a big time. I start working at 7 in the morning till night 2 o'clock and continuously on my toes to monitor all the patients every hour, every 2 hours, because unless you do that, you do not get success. So to start with, I'll share my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is the integrated approach in the management of COVID and mucormycosis. Mucormycosis is the hot topic today. And before starting my lecture, I dedicate this lecture to our great master, Dr. Samuel Frederick Hahnemann, founder of homeopathy, who has given Sanjeevani to the human lives. It's really Sanjeevani because it's very difficult to find like Sanjeevani, but once you find, you can save many lives. The real tribute to him would be to prove homeopathy a great science in a scientific way. And that is my motto and mission for the rest of my life. Because today, 200 years back, he has founded this when there was no microscope, no X-rays, and all facilities were not there, investigative facilities. But today we are fully loaded with the advanced diagnostic facilities, but still to be proved in that modern frame of science, homeopathy will work wonders. But I searched many of the websites. CCRH is doing a wonderful job on the research in homeopathy. And I came to know one article for cytokine storm. That is the main thing. And that cytokine storm where it was found that Bryonia, Arnica, and Belladonna, 3 were working very nicely. And it has been documented that it has got an action on the IL-6. So it's just like a tocilizumab that we are using in the modern science. And I was surprised that I was just putting the words in the on the internet, Google, to find out, do we have anything on cytokine storm? And definitely when it came, I said, oh, these drugs are definitely helping me. So going to the next slide, I respect all sciences. They are my weapons to fight against the disease, to restore health of a sick individual to normal. And the mission of the physician is to save and restore health with happiness. Happiness is very important. If you get well and you're not happy and you're weary with all the illness that you have suffered, it's not called as health. And therefore it is happiness is very important along with that. All sciences have scope and limitations. To override these limitations, I accept the scope and the good part of each and every science. And that is how I help my patients. And I respect all doctors, medical practitioners. We discuss the shortcomings, but we never criticize any mode of treatment and its practitioner, as no doctor ever thinks of harming his patient. And we doctors should leave our ego. The rigidity, which I found in allopathy as well as in homeopathy, there are rigid views. Just like you're looking into one angle. When you remove that and then you got a view of 360 degrees, then you'll come to know the world is more beautiful and more advanced when we integrate all together. Therefore, unity with broad-minded approach by integrating all sciences to arrive at concrete synergistic solutions. Concrete and synergistic is very important. Solutions to fight this deadly pandemic is the need of today. And I request, I pray to all the people who are listening, all the high officials, that integration will save many lives. I get sad when people die of COVID and when they are not getting any help. So primarily I practice now homeopathy after my 25 years of allopathic practice. And it was an overlap. Allopathy with homeopathy was more than 15 years overlap. And now we have completed 35 years. And I take help of other sciences like Ayurveda, acupuncture, and other alternative sciences. When even with allopathy and homeopathy, there is a stop. Everywhere there is a stop, and you have to override that stop. And that is how it has helped me in gaining more knowledge and bringing into the integration of totality of all these sciences that are treatment avenues that are available in today's life. So before starting today, there are a lot of criticism on homeopathy. There are a lot of restrictions on homeopathy. And the criticism is good. We should take it in a positive sense rather than reacting it badly. Because unless someone criticizes, we'll not know our deficiencies and will not improve. So we should take it in a positive way and then fight and see that we improve and prove to them of that level that yes, homeopathy is really scientific and it is to the depth giving miraculous cures. And before that, I would give you all, take a signed consent from the patient or his relative endorsed by a treating allopathic physician. Do not claim cure on social media, because cure is something which is not possible in any science. And we can restore the health to the normal, what he was there. Keep proper record, history, follow-up development, serial investigations. Like I keep every hourly record of that, and therefore it becomes a very big, I have got a very big memory on my iPhone, and therefore I can save all these people. So you can also do that. And we can treat, but cannot claim until proved by proper research. That is a hitch. And there we have to bypass all these things. We can do observational studies and submit to CCRH and Ayush Task Force, because unless we do study, like I have done my study and I keep it to myself, then you don't give, then the knowledge has to be shared. Unless you share the knowledge in homeopathy, homeopathy will not come up. People are secretive, don't share the knowledge, don't give the medicine name. And that is how the homeopathy lags behind. Today, if I share my knowledge and some of you can cure so many patients, it is that the big punya that you are going to get indirectly, because that finally matters in your life. So to start with now, I'll start with the mucormycosis. It's a fungal infection. Now there are many white fungus, yellow fungus, black fungus. Black fungus is mucormycosis. So white fungus is aspergillosis, and many a times as a secondary infection, we do not understand, like mucormycosis is showing, I am there. Aspergillosis, you never know, and patient drops down. We think it is a cytokine storm, and it is not the cytokine storm, but aspergillus lung infections cause a very bad lung deterioration along with COVID-19 pneumonia, and finally the patient succumbs and we never know. But we can see candida from the mouth, but we can see the black fungus. It gives immediate symptoms so fast that you don't have time to think and you have to act very fast. The pathology you must know, because pathology is miasm. These are the pictures that I have given. The fungus surrounds the blood vessels, causing inflammation. So we want the medicines for blood vessels, that is inflammation of blood vessels, thrombosis that destroys them, resulting in tissue necrosis, death of the body tissue, and can even lead to death if it is not treated properly. So black fungal mucormycosis, predisposing factor. This is the recent strain of the second wave, B.1.617 variant of SARS-CoV-2. It suppresses the immunity faster than the first strain, and therefore you are seeing that the duration of the illness start is very incipient or insidious or very mild, and therefore we always say ki mujhe kuch nahi hua, and finally on 8th day the oxygen starts falling down. So this virus is very smart. It will keep you in the dark, and you may say you do not have, and then finally succumb. So low immunity is a main thing into the patient, and that can be because of overuse of antibiotic and excessive steroids. Now the allopathic world has started understanding, and now there is a rational use of antibiotics and steroids. Diabetes mellitus is another cause, because in presence of sugar, fungus goes faster. Overuse of zinc and iron supplements. Zinc acts as a growth factor of the fungus, especially mucormycosis. And unhygienic hospital nebulizers, humidifiers, and oxygen masks are found to be the main cause of fungal spread. That way, mucormycosis fungus is present everywhere. We all are sitting. Mucor infection is near us, so it is nothing new for us. But when the immunity goes down, it starts eating us. The main thing that comes is swelling with redness, nasal blockage, pus discharge, bleeding, blackish discharge from the nose, paranasal sinuses, numbness, blurring of vision, and double vision when the brain and the cranial nerve starts getting involved. So when they start getting involved, and you take it that patient is going to die in few days, or not more than 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, and everything is finished, and you are just sitting helplessly watching the patient die. This is very, very important, because the symptoms you have to pick up very early. So what are the symptoms that I am going to come to you? But before that, we see mucormycosis is pathology, and in homeopathy, it is called as miasma. That is how I have translated and correlated the allopathic terminology, because if you talk miasma to any allopathic physician, he will not understand. So the inflamed mucous membrane gets infected with mucormycosis. So it is an inflamed mucous membrane that needs to be treated along as a complementary, and follows well remedies. It affects when immunity is low with high sugar, ketoacidosis, and increased iron. Discharges are black, and capillaries get thrombosed. The mucous membrane, MM is mucous membrane, capillaries get thrombosed, and then the destruction of tissues with rapidity starts. So antifungal remedies of our homeopathy match as per the individuality. The principles of homeopathy is matching the symptoms properly. So when you start matching which symptoms to match, you should know the direction of that. And therefore, this particular COVID and mucormycosis has baffled me initially. And I learned from the failures that, oh, we cannot just give one remedy and sit silently. We have to be very active, very dynamic, because this infection is dynamic. And therefore, you have to be very careful in handling such patients. What are the site predilections? Mostly nose, eyes, mouth, gums, jaws, and then the brain. Along the blood, then it can spread to the various organs. And the predisposing factors are excoriation of mucous membrane. Too many of antibiotics, the tongue becomes red, the mucus starts excoriating, and therefore it is a predisposing factors. If there are any wounds in the mouth, gingivitis are there, open wounds are there, then the patient is more likely to get into this. So what is miasm? Miasm is pathology. Anti-miasmatic treatment is anti-pathology treatment. Restoration of the health is incomplete unless the treatment is anti-miasmatic. So there are three main miasma or pathology in homeopathy: psora, psychosis, and syphilis. Psora means disturbance of physiology, biochemistry, immunology, because perfect regulation of these three forces is called as a vital force. That is what I've understood and perceived. We need to prove into the scientific research. Because of the allopathic knowledge, I have correlated and found out these terms which are exactly matching. The words are differently used in homeopathy. Psychosis, in allopathy, they feel psychosis, some mental illness. But in this, means that hyper or hypofunctions of the gland, cells, tissues that alter the physiology, biochemistry, and immunology. And syphilis means destruction of physiology, biochemistry, immunology, functions of the gland cells, and tissue necrosis, and finally leading to death. So different pathologies are the mixtures of permutations and combinations of the head miasm, that is psora, psychosis, and syphilis. That is disturbance, hypofunctions, and destruction. So these are the three main. From permutations and combinations, then you get many miasms: tubercular miasm, malarial miasms. So it is following the proteins that are being left, the antibodies that have been stimulated. They many times cause in the convalescence problem, and patient doesn't get well. So what I have done, from the whole of the repertory of the synthesis, they have got many repertories. I took all the fungus. If you see hematodes, I'm talking, particularly this fungus, mucormycosis, hematodes. There are so many fungal infections, so I've excluded that. I have taken some of them also to find out what is the whole thing in repertorization I'm getting. This is for the whole mucormycosis. And you see the remedies that are standing. These are usually working into the mucormycosis. There are so many, 44 remedies we have to treat mucormycosis, and it has given me the good results. So I'll start a case of mucormycosis. She is a very young lady with two small kids, and she was admitted into the ICU after the deterioration of lung with the CT score of 24/25. So almost 80–90% the lung was damaged, and she was not responding to the treatments given. And finally, then this is 21st/5, but she came earlier to me, but I'm taking some part of that case to present the case of mucor, because this one case has given me all problems of COVID and mucormycosis in one single patient. So this is a good case so that I can share my experience with you. So on 21st, this is recent case, at 3:23 p.m., the swelling under the eyes, you can see the swelling under the eyes, with no symptoms at the start. So the patient's relative is very, very intelligent, and he said, "Sir, there is some swelling." And finally, on 22nd, that happened at night. So the whole night passed. I said, "What has happened?" In the morning, when I called, he says the swelling below of the eyes has increased. Now the pain has started behind the eye, teeth, and jaw. So I immediately started, without wasting time, Merxol, Hepersulf, R-Cyode, and Lachesis. I will give you an explanation why I selected these remedies. But to present shortly, at 9:52 a.m., that is just an hour after that, within an hour, at all four remedies given at 30 minutes interval, and you see the improvement that happened at 3:33 p.m. The swelling is gone. Within 3.30 hours, 3.5 ghante mein, the swelling went off so fast. And that is the speed of homeopathy that we must always observe in ICU cases. If we are not getting results within 1 hour, we have to think whether you have to change the remedy or there is an obstacles to the cure and remove the miasma. 80% of the pain reduced within 3.5 hours, and that was really encouraging for me. In the evening, then 3:33 p.m. in the evening, 8 p.m. we did a punch biopsy which showed broad septate hypae with irregular margins and irregular branching seen. It is a very small town, so therefore there are no special laboratories, but even then they have done a wonderful job, and therefore they kept a question mark as zygomycetes. But it is mucormycosis because all the symptoms, the speed of development, everything was matching in that. So oxygen saturation dropped from 80% to 52%. She was already on homeopathy, and I say, why? Homeopathy is given and oxygen has dropped. It would have been like that, but it's no. Something is happening, and you should not take in a negative sense, because homeopathy never harms. It will do good or it will not act at all. So the from high flow oxygen, the BiPAP was thought of, and she said, I'm going to die if I am being put on the ventilator, because she might have needed a mechanical ventilator support. She said, everyone around me in this 15 days time has died, and I'm the only survivor. So I'm seeing I don't want to go. Extreme fear of going to the ventilator, and the most important part, the patient is fully conscious, and therefore the fear factor many times causes the cytokine storm and drop in the oxygen. So if you see, particularly when we started homeopathy, this first improved. At the same time, the oxygen, which had dropped from 80 to 52, after the remedies, that 4 remedies we have given, it improved to 67 and finally to 88, and mechanical ventilation was not required. And we had put her on high flow oxygen, that was 15 liters per minute. So this was on the 23rd. Everything was fine. Now the eye symptoms have gone. Suddenly he called me, there is some boil on her gum. I said, oh, this is a typical presentation of mucormycosis. And therefore at 6:03 p.m., but eye pain stopped, severe jaw pain, which was started with this boil, started worse, and it became worse on slightest movement. So this was the time, the slightest movement, Bryonia struck to my mind, because it works as an antiseptic also, and it has cleared liver abscesses in many of my patients. So Bryonia 200 was given, and within half an hour, the lockjaw improved after 1 hour, and now pain is only in the maxillary sinus. So this particular improvement so fast with Bryonia gave me more encouragement to treat this case more intensively. So at 8.4 p.m., the gum boil ulcer increased and bleeding started. And at this particular juncture, I gave her creosote, because the tissues are eaten up and the infection is going to spread like a fire in the jungle. So I don't want to take a chance. You will see how fast I'm changing the remedies, but that is a need of the time. You cannot sit and say by that time the patient will deteriorate and die. And therefore within a few hours, and you can see this, the stringy discharge, the typical of creosote, the discharge coming and eating up the nearby tissues was the main indication. And after that, you see immediately within few hours, the improvement started, and still the granulation tissue is seen. At 8:28 p.m., what happened? That particular, this started bleeding so profusely. You see the bright red blood, and that is not stopping. Made me think of Crotalus horridus 30, and it was given immediately. You don't have to waste time. You cannot wait in emergency cases, and see how fast. 8:28 p.m. and 36, the bleeding stopped immediately. Otherwise, it was another emergency of hemorrhage. So on 24th, that is the third day, the yesterday's lesions all resolved. You can see this getting resolved. But on the right side of the gums, this pus pouch has come. These are called as the gum boils. And you can see 6:29 p.m. and 11:18 p.m. they resolved, because I again repeated the same combination, because Crotech, I thought it is more working, so I added Crotech. Merxol, Hepersulf, R-Cyot 30 and Crottage to be given in 30 minutes time, because I don't want to waste my time and give the medicine, observe and see. By that time, patient will go into complications and die. So 25th, that is on 4th day morning, the problems of mucormycosis completely resolved, and now the oxygen saturation was maintained at 90. So that was a great experience in handling, and how fast this patient was deteriorating and how fast homeopathy stopped the deterioration. So that was really encouraging. So why I said, I'll explain you. I did a repertorization, fear of being betrayed, fear she will not recover. And she wanted somebody to come and hold her hand and don't go from here. And after that, when we were asking, how are you? She says, no problem. I do not have any problem. Says, well, when she is very sick, based on the pathological rubrics and cough, she used to get even slightless movement. She used to get hepatization of lung, inflammation of blood vessels, thrombosis, fear of death, expectoration was viscid. Even the discharges that you see, they were viscid. And the hepatization of lung was rapid. And therefore, I thought this iodum must be considered. So what is the best combination was R-Cyot. So I took R-Cyot. Merck, because all these things, if you see into the repertorization, I chose 4 remedies. Lachesis was the first time given, but when the pure bright red discharge started, I changed from Lachesis to Crottage. The mucormycosis head remedies are Merxol, because it's like a broad spectrum destructive pathology was a choice. It causes broad spectrum destructive pathology and covers the fungus hematodes. It is given into the Materia Medica. Hepersulf, Materia Medica of different authors, particularly clinical, give you a lot of insight into homeopathy to practice in a scientific way. So Hepersulf, secondary infection and its main action on sepsis. Because along with this mucormycosis, sepsis is very, very important. And Hepersulf in COVID is working excellent. So my choice was Hepersulf. R-Cyot, Arsenicum album is antifungal, antiviral with iodum. Why I selected? Because it causes a rapid development of pneumonia and quality of mucormycosis to spread very rapidly. The rapidity of the iodum. So I made a combination of R-Cyot. Lachesis, because it is anti-hemorrhagic and anti-thrombotic properties. And Crottage, I changed to that because seeing the bright red active bleeding, which needs Crotalus horridus. So this integrated approach has saved this patient from mucormycosis. See, when you hit the center, it should be the combination of all the therapies. Here with just allopathy and homeopathy, the combination was very good. And amphotericin B was called, but unfortunately it was not available, and it was Saturday evening. Sunday was a holiday, so we got 2 days without. They started using fluconazole. I said, no problem, you can use whatever you want. But amphotericin, by the time Monday came, patient was settled and amphotericin was not needed. So this gave me another thing. See, God is helping me to prove that homeopathy, when integrated with allopathy, will really do wonders, provided the whole world starts accepting. And we should present it in a scientific way, and therefore we should request all the government authorities. The Government House of India has also taken a bold step in constituting interdisciplinary Ayush Research Development Task Force with the objectives of reducing sufferings and deaths associated with COVID-19 in India. With the broad view of Maharashtra movement, our task force of Maharashtra was established under the leadership of Padma Shri Dr. Lahane sir, Kohli sir, and Madam Katke to frame, and they selected members from different faculties and the different branches, and we have got a very strong and proactive Maharashtra task force. I thank all of them for giving me the opportunity to work as a task force member into the Maharashtra task force. And we have come out with first advisory, second advisories. Now for third advisories for second wave, we are shortly coming with. So the cardinal symptoms, these were the mucormycosis. Now we come to the COVID case. was long duration, is the long duration of illness, atypical presentation, intractable fever has baffled me for many days. Finally, I could find out what exactly works. And more severe form of COVID pneumonia than the earlier first wave, thromboembolic complications were plenty. People, I got a call from Thane Hospital, one of our homeopath was working into an ICU. She said, sir, please help, people are dying. They go to the bathroom and they collapse. They are dying like the insects, and I can't see this happening. So I gave her some insights what should be done, because arnica here works best as an anti-thrombotic preventive like heparin and aspirin. It works very nicely. So give every day night, and most of the thromboembolic complications can be saved. So the sudden deaths due to pulmonary embolism and myocardial infarctions, they were also a problem. And myocardial infarctions, because usually NAJA 30 has given the best results for the myocardial infarctions, because it dissolves the clot like a more faster than the streptokinase or urokinase of allopathy. I had one patient who called me, he's feeling extremely weak. I said, you have got COVID. But I said, let me come here into my clinic. He climbed up one stairs and I took his ECG and it was hyperacute infarction. And I said, oh, you got COVID, RT-PCR positive with myocardial infarction. So you should get admitted into ICU. I gave him a dose of NAJA 30, Arnica 30, Cactus G60. Cactus G is like a sorbitrate of homeopathy. It improves the coronary circulation, so the patient can be saved. With these three medicines, he moved all over the city. Finally, from 5 o'clock till 11 o'clock, they were moving, taking the medicines of homeopathy, and he could reach. Finally, he was landed into ICU, and from where he recovered finally and was discharged. The time that allopathy got to manage this particular case was because of the supportive homeopathic treatment that I given based on the clinical things. Arrhythmias and cardiac arrests are most important, and therefore the arrhythmias, you know, Kali Carbs works the best. Wherever you keep on seeing the ECG changes, and if the potassium is down, the arrhythmias are more. So what is potassium is a Kali group, and therefore Kali groups works wonders in arrhythmias and cardiac arrest. Severe post-COVID complications is a very big topic. We'll take some time in the next seminar. So we must do for all cases of simple fever or 99 fever or 1 or 2 illness at the start, ask the patient to get a rapid antigen test. RT-PCR takes time, therefore rapid antigen test will use. Some cases are positive, some cases are false negative. So RT-PCR works there. CBC-ASR, CRP, blood sugar, liver functions test, and serum creatinine at the start on the second day, so that we come to know exactly, and the patient is affording, of course, IL-6 should be done. The test that we must do on the second day of the illness, these are the tests that everyone can afford. Therefore, we should do. These are the tests who cannot affording patients, and where facilities are available, you have to do. Why CPK? CPK because in a muscle, whenever there is a lot of myalgia, you know, the CPK starts riding. But if you do CPK MB, that is a myocardial fraction, then we come to know, yes, that is it can go to the myocardial damage, and then we can select the remedies as per the individualization, as per the miasma, and give that. So the rapid antigen test, PCR and HRCT scan is very important, but don't do HRCT scan unless and until oxygen falls below 95. Otherwise, high radiation, some people are doing on first day. It is nonsense. Don't do on a first day, because you are exposing a patient to high radiation. One CT scan is 100 X-rays. So understand, don't put a patient unless the oxygen falls and you want to know. Otherwise, you can know by yourself. The oxygen is falling, there is definitely a COVID pneumonia. What you are going to get by seeing the score, unless the oxygen drops fast. So 2D echo of the heart is very important, because if there is underlying heart condition, then or it is developed secondary after the infection, then 2D echo will alert us very early. ECG is a must, because we must know the baseline. Now we say it should be done after 40. Even the young people, young children, young adults, they are getting into this cardiac problems. So there is no age limit now for that. And they are dying more faster than the comorbid people of the first wave. When you suspect the heart rate variability of pulse and chest pain, you should always do HS, highly specific CRP, troponin T, troponin I, PTA, and PTTK. These are the factors that tell us whether there will be a coagulation or not. If the INR is maintained properly, that means the patient will not go into thromboembolic phenomena. If this shows that you are going into a thromboembolic phenomena, our anti-thrombotic remedies of the homeopathy should be selected on symptom similarity. So the lung complication that happens is lung fibrosis, pulmonary thromboembolism, bronchitis, cor pulmonale, CCF, pulmonary hypertension, COPD, pleuritis, bronchiectasis, and lung abscess who survive post-COVID. They are immunocompromised and they are being treated for a very long time. These are the very big topics, and it will take weeks to discuss all these things with you, but I will give you a faint, the broad outline of what exactly the lung pathology happens in the COVID, because if you know the pathology, that is a miasm, then you can select proper anti-miasmatic drugs. So perivascular ground glass appearance lesions due to vasculitis, then thrombosis, and extensive perfusion defects because of alveolitis, and right ventricular function defects because lung has become stiff. The preload increases, and preload gives a effect on a heart, so that the right ventricle starts failing with the pulmonary hypertension. And therefore you can select heart failure. The best remedies are digitalis for the right heart failure, congestive cardiac failure. Now, for all these things, I have taken some rubrics. Pathology is bronchopneumonia, is a catarrhal infection attacking all air cells in the various lobules of the lung. The form of pneumonia is due to invasion of air cells by the continuity of the surface, obstruction of the bronchioles, and inhalation of irritating secretions that cause inflammation in a previously existing bronchial tubes. So the perivascular ground glass lesions due to inflammation of blood vessels and the leakage of the plastic fluid and interstitial fibrosis. So these are the general, I have taken from the repertory, the inflammation of blood vessels. There are 82 medicines, and you can select any one of these as per the symptom similarity. Thrombosis, what are the main things that are working, that I have put the blue color that has worked for me: Apis, arsenic, crottage, and natrum sulp, and vipera. Arsenic is particularly selected as the fever increases, the oxygen drops. The fever comes down, oxygen improves. So arsenic is a drug of choice that time. That is what is a practical hint I'm giving. But you have to do a symptom similarity, individualization, and then you can use multiple remedies, but that should follows well and complement well. The remedies should be used in succession, and you have to change the remedies as the symptoms change, because this is a dynamic disease. So the adjacent alveolar connections with small called as pores of Kohns, and this is how it passes. And type 1 pneumocytes, surfactants is affected. Alveolar macrophages come and they start defending against the pathogen, and with that the inflammation sets in. The alveolar dead space increases the total physiological dead space, and therefore the oxygen falls down. Hypoxia is a result of pulmonary artery oxygen pressure, and that can be corrected by our most of the remedies that are given in cyanosis. So these are the 4 important things: thrombosis, inflammation of lung, interstitial fibrosis, and inflammation of blood vessel. Interstitial fibrosis starts setting it at a later stage, and therefore when you give homeopathic remedies, you have got success in previous cases, but when the interstitial fibrosis sets in, the same success you are not getting with the same remedies. The same thing happened with this case. So at the last, I had to change all the pattern, and then I got a success. This was a wonderful case for a presentation for the learning purposes, but it was very bad for that patient. And I had spent sleepless nights for her. Her brother has spent sleepless nights. Whole family has spent. Even she has spent these sleepless nights. So it is a pleuropneumonia, and therefore, because if you see the CT scan, typically it starts at the periphery of the lungs and then spreads downwards. phosphorus is also many times comes as an indicated remedy. But when the case has advanced, even 0/1 phosphorus I have used, but I got a deterioration, and therefore I stopped using phosphorus as a single remedy. But I have started using as a ferrum phos and combination of with other minerals, the phosphorus group. The inflammation of the lungs in the stage 2, that is where we have to see all these remedies. There are 179 remedies. So homeopathy has got a vast treasury of using anti-COVID pneumonia medicines, properly given, properly selected, will prove as a sanjeevani and can save the life of the patients. Inflammation of the lungs in the stage 3, I call it as a neglected pneumonia, because there are no proper remedies and it is as good as neglected. And therefore, many of these remedies come into a picture where I got good results with R-Cyode, Bryonia. Bryonia works in the earlier stages, sometimes in the later stages when you get exact symptoms of Bryonia. But if you're not getting, you may get symptoms of Antim-Tart. So my choice would go from Bryonia to Antim-Tart. And Carbovage, when the interstitial fibrosis sets in, the patient is into advanced state. Many times Carbovage also doesn't work as it works in the initial stages. So you have to give in a very low dilutions. That is what I do, dissolve Carbovage 6C in a cup of water and give small quantities, half teaspoonful, 1 teaspoonful every hourly, and keep a watch on oxygen. Any remedy, if the oxygen falls, don't take the remedy as caused it, but remedy is not working. So you have to change. Homeopathy never does wrong thing, but your remedy is not working, and therefore this giving Carbovage, you may feel you are given and this patient has got a low oxygen. No, it is not. That remedy is not working, and you have to choose the second remedy. What is going to improve your oxygenation? So, you know, in this particularly inflammation of neglected pneumonia that comes after 12 day, 13 day to us in homeopathic treatment, I use this rubric. Interstitial fibrosis. So I searched whole of the synthesis, whole of the radar and all other softwares, but I didn't get interstitial fibrosis of lung anywhere, because it is a very super specialized job. That time when our masters were there, they were not knowing about the interstitial fibrosis. Microscope was not available. But some people have done the studies into kidney inflammation, interstitial fibrosis. And therefore, I took this rubric to whether I can select any remedies. And there I got Ferrum Met as very important remedy that worked into the interstitial fibrosis. And second was Stannum Met, which is not given here. So the Materia Medica says Calicarvone is useful in chronic catarrhal conditions, in interstitial pneumonia and chronic inflammation of the upper part of the lungs, particularly. Dr. Hahnemann says patients suffering from ulceration of lungs rarely get well without antisoric remedy. This is very important, and therefore, you know, arsenical works, R-Cyode works better into these cases. See, Dr. Hahnemann has also faced, without these investigations, the problems that time. And he has beautifully jotted down in all his books and papers. And today, because of that, we are able to save many lives. The interstitial fibrosis, where I have found that works, is Bryonia alba, Arsenicum iodatum, as the chief things that they are working. And third is Stannum metallicum. This I have realized later because the slides were prepared earlier. The interstitial lung fibrosis, phosphorus group, and therefore you see the ferrum interstitial and phosphorus inflammation. So ferrum phos is working very nicely, and in many cases in Mumbai, there is a group of doctors who are using only ferrum phos. They got the result, but not in all cases. So, you know, just don't blindly believe any remedy and start giving unless and until you see a response within 1 hour, or at least 2 hours. Don't wait for a whole day to see the response. You will lose the patient. The gold series, that Aurum metallicum, that works when everything fails, and Aurum mur or Aurum muraticum netronatum, that also gives the results into the cases, but you have to select as per the individualization. The respiration difficult, these are something that difficult, lungs cannot expand. This is the only rubric and Crotalaris T. I've used, but I didn't get a result properly. But when I use Crotech, I got the result, because now here the pathology comes in. So you should know the pathology. There is a thrombosis and microhemorrhages into the lung, and therefore instead of Crot T, Crot H worked very well. Pulmonary edema that starts, and this particularly thing I have not treated, but I found out this rubric. And if I get a case, then definitely ammonium carb will work wonder. I've used ammonium carb because it is given in Clark that it works very well in neglected pneumonia, but I didn't get much good results with ammonium carb. So therefore, I'm waiting for some good drug in pulmonary edema to come up, and I think that should be the ammonium carb, but not into the pneumonia when it has gone into the interstitial fibrosis. So you must know the miasm. Miasm is very important. Dr. Farooq Master has worked very well into the pathology, and his selection is as per the principles, and pathology has given him many results into the ICU cases. Inflammations of the lung is caused by fever. So there I've seen many times this fever, particularly when there is a pulse variability and there is chilliness, pyrogenium works well, stramonium works well when the symptoms they match. And particularly in this second wave of the COVID, with lot of muscular pain, and when the CPK values are little high, I just blindly give Rustox 200 and patient fever comes down. When the Rustox is not working or it is into the advanced stages, when the fever crosses more than 8 days, 9 days, fever may not respond to Rustox, then it starts responding to APs, because it works as an anti-inflammatory as well as anti-thrombotic. Therefore, if you know the pathological action of the remedies, your selection into the repertorization, you get such a big number of varied remedies. Now, which one to choose and what is exactly happening? Like it happened in one of my relative with a kidney stone pain. I selected the best remedies, but it was not giving. On the FaceTime, I was constantly observing it. I said, Barbaris work has to give the result. Osinum Camina has to give the result. It was not giving. Then ultimately, I thought, what must be the reason? Obstacle to the cure. These remedies are not covering inflammation of the urinary tract. And immediately it came to my mind, give Cantharis 30. Cantharis 30, one single dose. It was not there in any repertorization. Just out of the clinical experience and pathologic knowledge, I gave Cantharis 30, and within 5 minutes that boy slept. And finally, he was in the morning when he got all the stones, they came out. Then why the well-selected remedies were not working? Obstacles to the cure was the pathology. We call in homeopathy as miasm. Now we go to cyanosis. There are many things. I think I'll have to do fast because time is a problem. Veratrum viridi, it works very well on the inflammation, and it has given me very good results. You know what it has been said? It acts upon the brain, utterly prostrate its function, and thereby produce intense congestion in the capillary vessels. If you see the materia medica, it has been given by Northangles that the convulsive center is located in the limited space at the floor of the fourth ventricle in the pons of varicella, and there particularly it causes a problem of dizziness. So when the dizziness comes, when the severe weakness comes with dizziness, it is a Veratrum viridi is a choice of drug, and that has given me wonderful results within 30 minutes. And this causes the big problem when we go into the cases. So this is one case. There are many cases. I've got ample of cases, but the time, we have to respect the time. So I'll start the same case which suffered from the mucormycosis. The same case. Yes.
Sir, time is not the issue, sir. We can go ahead.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Clinical management with homeopathy as an adjuvant to the serious ICU case. Same case of mucormycosis that I presented. Same case in a COVID that I will show you. You see the CT scan, the score is 24/25. This young lady is crying and telling me, doctor, please save me. You are my God. My 2 children are waiting for me. If I die, what will happen to them? And it was really a very emotional state that time. And I prayed God and I prayed Dr. Hanneman, please give me wisdom to save this lady. because someone who comes with lot of hopes, a lot of prayers to you, you feel that you must help such type of people. And she had an ultimate faith in homeopathy. You see the whole of the lungs, hardly some spaces. I do not know whether you can see, but some black spaces when it is seen, like here and here you can see. So they are the breathing spaces. So very few places are left out. Otherwise, here there is some breathing space. Otherwise, you see everywhere it has been clogged with the viral pneumonia. So this case I started on 4th of the May, 21 in the morning, when the oxygen was 67 without O2. That was on a simple flow of oxygen, but it was falling down. And finally, the patient started deteriorating even after using homeopathic remedies. But I didn't lose the courage, and I had a great faith in homeopathy and started changing the remedies faster, because the oxygen had dropped to 47 even on 15 liters. So on the 7th May, finally from 47 it improved, but it was not going above 60. And here was the time when they said, no, we want to put her on ventilator. So this BiPAP ventilator is a big fear and fright for the patients, because they have heard outside, ventilator pe gaya to return aayega nahi. So the extreme fear of death. There I use Aconite 200, and immediately the oxygen improves. Now you see why there was an obstacle to the cure, because I have not addressed the fear. And the moment I gave Aconite 200, the oxygen started improving like this. And still she was on 63, not going beyond that, but lying on the left side. The oxygen used to improve. So this was encouraging for me. So see that there is something that if I try hard, we can win over this and save this patient. So on 10th May, see, from 4th to 10th, so I was struggling very hard, and I was changing the remedies, but I was not getting the good results. So finally, she was put on BiPAP. I told her, we will put BiPAP only for 1 hour. The doctors in the ICU are very good, allopathic doctors, they cooperated very nicely. And where you get a cooperation, I said, doctor is born for the patient, not for the pathy. And he agreed to me, yes, sir, whatever we can do best for the patient jointly, we will definitely do. His cooperation has given me more courage to fight for this patient. Finally, on 11th of the May, the oxygen improved to 18 on BiPAP. And we tried to remove, it came down to 60. At this time, she says, I don't want to leave, doctor, now. I want to go. I cannot survive. Then here comes your skill of counseling. I counseled her, see, you are improving. Don't go by this, because they always see. So I told the doctor, please put this oxygen saturation monitor behind the patient so that she cannot see whether the oxygen is falling or not. The relative was allowed. That was another thing. Nowadays, relatives are not allowed next to the patient. That is also one of the cause of death, because they die in fright. If relative is there, she says, hold my hand. And the brother used to say, sister, you're not going to die. Sister, you're not going to die. This boy was allowed in. And this is how compassionate we should work for the patient, not with the strict rules that, no, you're not allowed to stay. We should be working on the humanitarian ground, because I have seen many patients have died out of fear, because they were all alone and no one was there to take care. Yeah, there are problems of keeping the relatives, because sometimes they make halla kulla relatives and they stop functioning of the doctors. But if they are properly counseled and told, say, look here, nothing is going to happen. And moment they get some problem, someone immediately comes and attends, then they are satisfied. Even if you come and put a stethoscope and go, they are satisfied. Doctor is taking care. So she was on BiPAP, 85, 95, 75, 75. Suddenly on 14th May, she became unconscious. Oh my God, another big problem has come. We have succeeded 10, 20%, and 14th May, sudden the micro thrombosis attack came, and she was into a comatic stage. But what was a good thing? She was not responding, but eyes were moving and eyelids were flickering. So first I thought whether it is an hysterical state or whether it is really a thrombotic state. Then we looked into the D-dimer, it has risen high. So therefore, the more chances was there that yes, it is more of a this, and with fright, she has gone into an hysteria. So a combination of both. So immediately without wasting time, we gave her arnica 200, abrotenum 200, lacasis 30 at 10 minutes interval. Lacasis 30 works very well in the cerebral strokes that I have seen because it opens up immediately the thrombotic elements. Abrotenum post-thrombotic inflammation, peritonitis, the membranes, soft tissue membranes. Abrotenum works wonders on this, and the metastasis. From this, it has gone up. So we take as metastasis. So abrotenum was my drug of choice. Arnica is a universal clot dissolver. So arnica, abrotenum, and lacasis. Within 10 minutes interval, we are given all three. But after the second dose only, the body started moving. See, 10:30 a.m. and 10:46 a.m. So before the third dose went on, because first medicine was lacasis, second was abrotenum, and third was arnica. So with lacasis, you see faster improvement. It has saved my father's life also. He was into a left-sided hemiplegia. He went into coma, and with lacasis 30, within half an hour, he improved. There I have used only one drug because this corona has taught me that you don't stick on to one drug. You have to act fast. And therefore, when fast remedies are being given, I have seen the results very well. Some people may not agree with me, but even I was not agreeing with myself, but I've seen you dare to be wise, or that Dr. Hahnemann has said. If you are not going to be wise, you are going to lose the patient and his life. So, the oxygen improved. See, now with this, oxygen improved to 93% because it had gone to brain. So this is a case which taught me everything in and out of COVID and its complications. So 14th May, she started maintaining better oxygen, but she was on BiPAP intermittently. And then when she was shifted on 15 liters, the oxygen is dropped down to 75. So I was again happy. It's come on now. Now it has come to 93. Now we are going to win over this case. Finally, again, second deterioration came. That was mucormycosis. Now you see this particular. See the eyes flickering, and she is not responding.
Hृदय, ओय हृदय, हृदय, मी काय आणतोय ऐकते का?
She is moving the eyes.
समजताय का मी काय आणतोय तो?
But she has become numb. And post medicine, then you can see how she is. But oxygen dropped to 76. She is moving little bit head, and she started responding on her own. Then she has become
स्टेबल आहे तू. हा,
now she has become stable.
काय करायचं आहे? दम लागतोय तो. हा,
She is saying she is feeling breathless now.
पूर्णपणे नाहीचा करायचा आहे. हा, अजून खोकला.
खोकल्यामुळे जसं
Cough
म्हणजे
is coming.
मला तो
Marathi
उडतो
song.
माझा श्वासोश्वास
हा,
प्रक्रिया
You see
पूर्ण
the
होती.
freshness.
हा,
ही प्रक्रिया
Short span of
चांगली करायची. हा, म्हणजे ऑक्सिजनची प्रक्रिया तुला व्यवस्थित चांगली करायची आहे. हा, आणि खोक
Now she is telling everything, and this is the wonderful result of homeopathy Sanjeevani. And this has taught me, gave me encouragement, and gave me more faith in homeopathy. And I feel that everyone, after seeing these cases, we should work hard to prove scientifically in this manner, so that if the more researches are done, people will be acceptable. They reject because we are lacking somewhere. So we should not take criticism in the negative sense, but learn from the criticism instead of saying anything. We should always go ahead and work on that. So, the first day when it started on 19th/5, it was Candida albicans. Then this third of the mucormycosis that came. And you see particularly the left eye mucormycosis. And then this started with the pus, and finally she resolved. Then the investigations were done, and if you see, the D-dimer was above 5,000 when she developed into that thromboembolic phenomena. And on 21st May to 24th May, she suffered from mucormycosis. we have this part of mucormycosis that I already presented. So I'm not going to take back again to that. The medications that are used so fast, depending on that, every hour, see which one is working, repeat that. So these are the list of the remedies that I had covered with Glycyrrhiza glabra and Lobella inflata Q, particularly when combined with Vanadium 6C or 30. I have seen in some cases they are improving the oxygen very better when you are not getting results with the indicated remedy. Even the Aspidosperma, which was a viral, that is also a very good drug. But I'll tell you about Aspidosperma in short. Aspidosperma has got a main action on dissolving the small thrombi of, it has got a decongestant effect into the interstitial fibrosis. And the most important effect of Aspidosperma is that it stimulates the central respiratory system. You know, giving Aspidosperma, central nervous system is stimulated. You get immediately the change in the oxygen. Now, when to see give Aspidosperma in ICU cases? See, basically, I've seen the blood gases report. It's very easy to read the blood gases report. One day I'll teach you. There was accumulation of carbon dioxide in one case, not in this case. Accumulation here, we were not doing this because it was at a very small town I was managing where there were no big facilities available. So number of investigations are done, not more, very less. And this particular, I saw that oxygen, carbon dioxide is going above 40, 50, 50, 60. That means there is a carbon dioxide retention. When it happens, when there is a patient is not breathing properly or ventilation, even after giving because of the fibrosis. So you have to combine antifibrotic remedy with Aspidosperma, and with Aspidosperma 30 in a mother of a doctor from big hospital, we tried this and Aspidosperma immediately improved. But that was for a short period. There are so many pathologies into COVID case. So you have to address everything. And to find out a single remedy that will clear the case at this stage, you may get results with single remedies in the earlier stages. At the inception of that is the best time. But there also, I've seen many homeopaths, Pulsatilla comes as a majority in the early stages. They give the remedy and say, wait, bhook acha lagne lag gaya, feeling better, feeling energetic, sense of well-being, then don't repeat any remedy, don't think anything. And finally, I found that this patient has, when landed to me, has gone into, from the score which was 2 in the beginning, has gone to 14, 15. When the well-selected remedy was not, so I repertorized, I said, oh my God, this homeopath has selected the right remedy of Pulsatilla and still the patient has deteriorated. So this is a baffling of COVID pneumonia. So you have to be alert. You have to be alert by seeing the investigations, whether your patient is really improving or not. Every hourly oxygen monitoring and doing CRP, LDH. LDH, what it says, that an amount of the cell damage, if the LDH is more, there is a lot of cell damage, ongoing cell damage when the LDH is increasing. When CRP is increasing, it is an inflammation. When ferritin is increasing, it is a cause of the inflammation. So unless the ferritin comes down to normal, the inflammation is not going to halt. And therefore, D-dimer increase, you see there is more thrombosis that is happening. And therefore, you have to give antithrombotic remedy as a complementary and follows well, keeping in vision the principles of homeopathy. But you have to change those because the things have become modern and the complexity. What was the vital force in 200 years back and what is even yours and mine vital force is not that good it was at this particular age in the people living in those age. And therefore you have to be very practical and very logical and very rational and very daring. Dare to be wise. Don't get stuck up with this. So, but coming to particularly this, on 26th May, recently, after the mucormycosis was over, on 26th, that is 2 days later, immediately the brother sent me a photograph. Sir, she is developing some redness in this eye. I said, this is at a start. Just give Bryonia 200. And 1 dose of the Bryonia settled that problem. And the mucormycosis, what was a whole tragedy we had seen in the earlier from 21st to 24th was not seen in this particular case. Because of the red eye, she got frightened and oxygen dropped. It dropped to 59. I said, oxygen drop, fear, fright, give Aconite. I gave Aconite 200 and the oxygen improved to 65. And after 20 minutes later, it went again back to 84. Now here, what happens when this oxygen falls? What doctors will do in ICU? Come on, put him on ventilator. It goes to photo, put him on ventilator. Patient goes on ventilator and then the problem starts because the mind part is missing in allopathy, where mind is responsible for such fall is not, they only think of pathology, and therefore here the homeopathic knowledge helped me in tiding over again this crisis. So it was a hard time. This is an ongoing case. Still she is under my treatment, and now then she started recovering. And from 27th May, again after removing BiPAP on high flow, it dropped to 38. Now here, if you see the pulse rate is 136, and here you see pulse rate is 150. So when the pulse rate is very high, the fear factor, you can say, oh, this is Aconite, this is Aconite. And here, now the pulse rate is not very high, but when the it has fallen down to 38, immediately I said there must be some another inflammatory response that might have been started. And immediately I gave Arnica 200, Bryonia, Abrotenum, again Bryonia repeated, Mercosol 200 at half an hour's distance. And 7:46 a.m. it was 38, 134 at 8. That is shortly after a few minutes, 20 minutes, it came to 68, and 8:45 it came to 82. So see, I was always on my toes. You know, this particular patient has consumed a lot of time, but I have to give time. Otherwise, if I say ki nahi, abhi mujhe sona hai, I used to remain awake for her till late at night, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, again get up at 6 o'clock and see her, what is happening. Unless you work hard, you cannot get success like this. And just relaxing, because we are homeopaths are used to manage chronic cases. So I had worked for 5 years in intensive care unit. So you know, ki even if the potassium drops for 1 hour, and if you don't correct the potassium, patient is going to die of sudden cardiac arrest. So therefore, this is very important. On 20th May, it was 85, and then it became to 91. Miss, I'm giving the lowest and highest because now it's too big case. So I've taken this. On 29th May, it was 88 and then 93. So here I said, ki, come on, now 29th. Yesterday I said, ki, relax, because I had to prepare slides, so I couldn't prepare. So I said, I'm not getting time. How can I present for my webinar today? And I am a single-handed, there is no one to help. And I had to do all my jobs from A to Z, except for the technical support, which my son gives. Otherwise, it was not possible. 30th May, that is today at 6, she had 93. And yesterday or 2 days back only, the doctor said that now she is out of all the complications. And I think you should take her to the higher centers. Or if you can arrange the BiPAP at home, then for emergency sake and oxygen, then you can keep, because almost 28 days have passed the COVID infection. And therefore we decided that if the things go well, then she goes home. If the things doesn't go well, then we put her into a higher center. So she was today, that is 30th May, in the afternoon at 12, between 12 to 1, after discharge, she was put in ambulance. And you know, just see the increase, 96. Finally, she went to her native town, and I was happy that at least she will go home and see her kids. She had not seen them for a long time, with fighting with the life and death. And in the evening, I got a message from her brother, who means he's a brother, means he's like a god to her. He was on the toes day and night, working, hardly sleeping for 2-3 hours. And he messaged me, sir, now the oxygen saturation is 97, 98. Just now in the evening, I got a message, and I said, see how the mind works. Now she is, I am not going to die, I am going home. That happiness has increased the oxygen, and therefore we were getting obstacles to the cure. I thank you for listening so patiently to me, and the mother of 2 small kids finally getting well with integrated and aggressive homeopathic management should give us a encouragement and should make us more dare and wise to fight this particular infection. Thank you very much for patient listening. There are many more cases, but I think with this particular case, one should have learned everything. I hope so. I have done and explained in a very rational way, keeping the homeopathic principles in my mind and explaining into the modern language what homeopathy means, because I know that many allopaths are also listening, and I request them and pray that don't have an ego of a science. I as an allopath had an ego of the science, and when that ego broke, I became a real doctor. Otherwise, I was a doctor. I became the real physician, because the mission of physician is only to cure the sick. It is only mission. And for your information, I have gone to many people, even people sitting on the streets with the tent, exactly what they are doing. I had a curiosity that when our such wonder drugs in allopathy, most at the deadlock situation are not working, how these people are managing and giving results, because I used to see. And I have learned from everywhere. Even today, I'm a student and still learning many more. I think this one life is incomplete for learning whole of the homeopathy. So I attend many webinars, seminars, even of other doctors, some budding doctors also, because you come to know, you learn from them. No one is master. Master is gone now. Everybody is a learner, and we should be always student in the life with humble and simple approach only to save the patient's life. Thank you so much. I'll hand over my mic to.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Avinash.
Let us go for the question and answer session. Dr. Afrin can take up the question and answer session from the Zoom. Dr. Afrin?
Yes, sir. Sir, there is a question from Rajshekhar. Dr. Rajshekhar. Sir, is there any chance of recurrence of fungal infection in post-COVID state? This is the question from Dr. Rajshekhar.
Repeat,
Hello?
Afrin. Repeat.
Sir, is there any chance of recurrence of fungal infection in post-COVID state?
Yes, there is a chance if the immunity goes down. But if the immunity has improved by homeopathy, there is less chances of the immunity going down. I've seen in patients who are properly treated with constitutional medicine in the first wave, second wave, they got well protected. Even in the cases where in the house, the whole of them and person who was taking homeopathy was serving all, and he didn't get an infection, all came positive. This is my experience. But you have to be on the toes. You cannot say it will not recur. It may recur. So you have to constantly watch the patient. This second wave, lamba chalta hai. It's a very long, and it is tedious, and it is frustrating, because earlier 12 days either go up or stay down. But here it is a lingering, and therefore we have to be on a watch. Thank you.
Yeah. Sir, a question from Dr. Sunita Pillai. Sir, please explain the indication for Bryonia 200, which reduced the eye redness.
Yeah, see, basically, I tell you, a bryonia is the inflammation of the coverings of the organs. If you see pleural effusion, many times it responds. And patient had dryness, and patient had pain on the slightest moment in the first things. So where first the symptoms have gone now this redness has come as a first. Till the time she develops a full bryonia picture, we will waste the time. So with the experience beforehand that bryonia at work, and it is an inflammation, then why not to give bryonia, and therefore I selected bryonia. Thank you.
So one more question. Sir, after COVID-19 recovery, can we take arnica for some days to prevent any thrombosis?
Yeah, that is usually my practice. I give empirically because there was one study done. It was a very good, and it was a study done by an cosmetic surgeon. If you read a lot of research papers, you get to know much more knowledge rather than just reading the textbooks. So what it was that they were seeing that after surgery, their cosmetic surgery, cosmetic surgery, the tissue healing was not proper, and particularly in those cases where arnica was taken. So a study was done finally, and it was found out that the clotting, it's like heparin, it works like heparin, and the clotting, clot formation becomes late, and therefore the blood becomes more thinner and liquid, and therefore there are chances of hemorrhages into the post surgery. My practice was also before surgery give arnica. After reading this research paper, I stopped that because I like the research that was done. You learn every day. You learn from the mistakes. You learn from the experiences of others. And there it was said that don't give arnica before surgery, but after surgery, where the clot formation has already happened and tissue healing is into a problem, because it is after cut, after injury, arnica works well, and post surgery after 24 hours, if you give that, the results are much better. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, there is a question from Dr. Sadhana. Nowadays, I see a lot of cases with sepsis. WBC will be high. Kindly guide in such cases.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Even I am facing that problem quite rampantly, and the WBC counts goes high and it doesn't come down. You see, now there are two things. When WBC count goes high, you have to see whether neutrophils have increased or lymphocytes have increased. If the neutrophils have increased, then there are chances of secondary infection. So you have to do procalcitonin, that is PCT. If the PCT is high, then it is definitely a bacterial infection. So there you have to choose the remedy, which abscess remedies, which is given in generalities, and that match to the symptoms of the patient, and the comes down. But if the neutrophils have not increased and the monocytes have increased, so they are showing towards. So you must know how to read the hemogram. We just see the hemoglobin, ESR, and platelet, and the differential count very broadly. The person who can interpret the hemogram very nicely can know exactly what is happening into the patient, and therefore, if that is there, then it is not a sepsis; it is an inflammation that is causing more of the into the rise of WBC, and therefore their Rustox, APs, anti-inflammatory remedies will work very well. But when I'm talking of anti-inflammatory, you will say these are pathological rubrics. No, they are not pathological rubrics. That the pathological rubrics is into the modern conventional medicine called. But this pathology is a miasm, sub-miasms out of the 3 miasms permutations and combinations. And if you oversee them, you may not get the results. And therefore, you should be very, very, you have to improve. I've given you today a new direction, how the modern science language, when it is properly, homeopathy is explained in a modern language, people will start accepting us, and the research will happen more. And then homeopathy will become a life-saving addition to the integrated medicine along with the homeopathy. Basically, allopathy is into why allopathy is so famous. Even though in COVID times there are problems that no good drugs are available. The steroids, when used, they suppress the immunity. So those doctors who are using steroids, there are some homeopaths who are practicing allopathy. So I'm telling them that if you use steroids in the initial days, you are reducing the immunity and allowing the virus to spread more rapidly. So don't do that mistake. Even Dr. Zari Rudwadia, the pulmonologist, he has done a wonderful study of all of the allopathic journals and everything. 35,000 articles have come. From our side, how many articles have come? So where we like there? And there he said, ki, what should be, what works and what doesn't work. There's a beautiful video he has prepared, and it's a very knowledgeable video. And he has said that nothing is working. Now, the solidarity trial, you know about it, it was done in 30 countries together. They had done a solidarity trial, and 11,000 patients were taken into that, and it was found Fabiflu, Remdesivir, Tocilizumab, plasma therapy, and everything, they are not working. So the result were projected not more than a placebo, but still people are using it because, you know, sometimes I said mind works. कि 50,000 का injection लगा तो मेरी जान बच जाएंगी. That faith that creates, many times that gives the results, and therefore people get saved, because you know the fear is the main killer of COVID. Fear is the main killer of COVID. If fear was not there, like we have seen many other swine flu has come, that time there was no media hype and everything. Of the fear factor was less, and therefore the deaths were less. Here, even if you and I develop some symptoms of COVID, as a doctor also we get frightened. I'm always thinking that I'm treating to the world, but what happens if it happens to me? That fear came to my mind also. What will happen? That there will be no treatment available for me. Who will treat me, and what will happen? I said, okay. Then I counseled my mind. If you have to die, you have to die. Just accept the things. And I repertorized my fear symptoms, and Arnica came out. I took Arnica 201 dose, and all my fears went away. So, you know, that beautiful is homeopathy, that precise is homeopathy, that mind is controlled, disease doesn't happen. And I always under fear, and that worked for me. Thank you.
Sir, there is a question from Dr. Indranil. Sir, many times you have changed remedies frequently, around 3 to 4 in every hour. How to ascertain which remedy has worked? And also, do you see the remedy relationship while changing the medicine?
Yeah, a very good question you asked me, because this has troubled me also. See, basically, when you give a remedy, you should start seeing the effect within minutes. I keep an observation, and many times it works partially. Some works more than partially. Some work as a complementary. Some works. So what I do after doing a repertorization, I see the first 15 remedies that come into picture, and what is my experience as per the miasma, that is in allopathy we call as pathology. Pathological rubrics are anti-miasmatic rubric. Then I select the remedies, and then I see many times I've seen that even the inimical remedies were given, but first one has not worked, the inimical factor goes out. If the remedy has worked in a large extent, then the inimical remedies, they give the trouble. That is what is my practical. I have tried everything, because unless you try, but when you try, you have to be watchful on the patient. You must know how to antidote it faster, or to change the remedy with the new picture faster. And that is out of experience, you know. You have to be dynamic for that. And therefore, you see that what I have changed is to 1, 2, 3, 4. And many times on the second day, I changed my prescription because I was not seeing any response or partial response. The oxygen increase only 5-10. My goal was to 90, above 90. And therefore, you have to be very watchful, very thoughtful, and very rational, and in changing the remedies, because nothing comes out. There is no proper history available. When the patient is on ventilator in ICU, what history you are going to get?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Afrin, any questions from Zoom?
I think I have answered very well today, so less questions will come.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because earlier webinar, people asked me many questions. on what basis you selected. So I, I decided that this time while talking only, I'll give all the explanation.
Yes, yes.
Instead of taking too many cases, take one case and properly explain. And also I'm looking for people to work with me with dedication, because research and everything, who want to be associated with me in developing homeopathy and everything that can be done for the homeopathy. So I'll share one link on the chat, and
Sir,
if
there is
anyone is interested, they can contact me, and we should work for homeopathy.
Sure, sir.
Properly.
Sir, there are many questions regarding your views on vaccination.
Oh, that is a controversial subject. That is a controversial subject, but I would tell you the truth. What is the truth? Vaccinations are not bad. Vaccinations have saved many epidemics, pandemics earlier, but particularly for this virus vaccination, even allopathic world knows that influenza virus, the virus that changes the strain fast, the vaccination for that particular strain may work, for other strain it may not work. So there are a lot of theories, controversies. I'm going through the research papers everywhere. I even myself, I wanted to find out exactly what is happening. And therefore, when I said, let me go through all these things. So some theories were there that once you get vaccinated, what will happen? So I kept my eyes open that those around me who are taking vaccination, families together are there. Those who are not taking vaccination, I started comparing, because till the time you get knowledge from the rightful people, you do not know. By that time, you may lose many people. So then I started seeing. So you know what is my opinion? It's my opinion. So don't take it into the concrete sense. It is just my observation that initially also there were 100 patients, 100 people who got COVID infection. 30 people out of 70 people out of 100, they got well on their own, irrespective of the treatment. If you are given any treatment, even then without treatment, they were going to get well. So these are the people, 70% people are people with a good immunity. So these people, even 70% in 100% vaccinated people, these 70% people are not getting any problems with vaccination. But those 30% of the cases where it was, even in the earlier first wave, we have seen these 30% people are more into a problematic stage. So this 30 of the vaccination also, they are getting some problems. So some get from minor reaction, some get 2 days fever, some get some problem, but some people, like 10% people in my observation, have developed COVID, full-blown COVID, and they have died from pneumonia. But the cases are not known to me, how many people have died, so we cannot talk. Dr. K.K. Agarwal, who was a firm believer of homeopathy, when he died, it was a really shock to me, and it was sad that we lost him. He was doing a wonderful job of educating us in the hard COVID times, and finally after the second jab he developed that and he died. So that has shaken the world, that has shaken India and shaken many people's faith in vaccination. But we are not into a clear-cut idea as to what exactly. So best thing what I do, somebody says me, "See, sir, my vaccination लूं कि नहीं?" So what I do, it's a good question that you have raised, that you do CRP, CBC, ESR, then D-dimer, and total COVID antibodies, and IgE levels. And if the eosinophils in the WBC and there they are raised, then you have to tell the doctor who is vaccinating, I'm prone to get complications, so what I should do, so that doctor giving vaccination will take care of. I'm not against vaccination. Let me be very clear. But when the problems are coming, we have to find solution. And the best solution that I found out, that if you take vaccination, don't worry. But under a cover of homeopathy, like some of my close friends, families, they have taken They say, no, we don't want to take a risk. I said, it's okay. I'm not telling you to take a risk, but if you take vaccination, just inform me. And I've given them the first dose of belladonna, followed by arsenic, and followed by thuja on third day. And most of them have not gone into the COVID vaccination complications. So, you have to find out solution rather than fighting with it. So, but the COVID vaccination, they say that one good advantage, the disease severity will go down. But we are not seeing that in all cases, because some people who have died, it has again raised a question. But that means this particular person has a very bad immunity. And if that bad immunity is properly handled by homeopathy, then vaccination program can be successful. Now people have got resistance. Even if I'm telling them take, they are not taking, because we cannot talk against vaccination and we cannot raise the controversy of the vaccination. And therefore, we should be very logical and practical. So here again, the integrated use will come into the play. If government starts accepting us, that after every vaccinated person before, if those who are affording do this test and screen out these cases, and finally after vaccination, if you give these 3 drugs, all of my patients, none of them has gone into the pneumonia, except for one case. She was a sister-in-law of my very close friend, and after first jab, she went and oxygen started falling down. But at the moment she's got a fever and fever was not coming, within 24 hours, I had a chance to treat her. And I said, ki post-vaccination, this may go into, so better hospitalize her. So they say, no, with the idea of hospitalization, she started getting tachycardia and the oxygen again fallen down. So I said, okay, don't worry. Gave her Aconite 200 and I treated her. And within 24 hours, she settled down. The next day, the oxygen remained 94, 95. And finally, she was well. So, even in the vaccinated case where this person has gone into the problem, she has come out. So homeopathy can help the vaccination program to a larger extent. And we can get the benefit of that vaccination also. Thank you. Any more questions?
Sir, there are many questions actually.
Oh,
They were confused. I think there are 2,000 questions are there in the chat box.
Bob. That means I need to prepare well next time. Send me all the questions, whatever they are there. And
Yes,
definitely, like in last webinar a week back, again on 3rd, I'm going to take my webinar, and I always put on my Facebook which webinar I'm going to conduct. So the next webinar, maybe I may address all these questions, like in this webinar, from the last webinar, I tried to cover.
I think we can have a session on question and answer session itself.
Yeah, question and answer session. Then the very good questions are coming, because I have not covered everything, all the aspects of that. So the very good questions are coming, and I think vaccination was the main thing, and I was afraid to talk, but I think I have covered it rationally and logically, without any creating controversies, and nothing against the vaccination. Thank you.
Dr.
Okay,
Sarah?
yeah.
Dr. Sarah?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for the great presentation and answering those questions. It was a pleasure to have you with us. And thank you all for attending. Thank you all for attending. We hope you all have learned and enjoyed this presentation. Thank you, sir. Now, I request our energetic Dr. Avinash, Secretary of IHMA, to give a vote of thanks.
Respected dignitaries on the forum, as a Secretary of IHMA Mangalore, it's my pleasure to present the vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank today's speaker, Dr. Jaswant Patil, sir. In spite of his busy schedule, sir has agreed to come to IHMA platform and gave such a beautiful and informative session on COVID and mucormycosis treatment. I'm very sure this session will be boosting the confidence of the homeopathic doctors at this crisis of COVID. Once again, I thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session. Thanks a lot, sir. I would like to thank President of IHMA Mangalore, Dr. Praveen Kumar Rai, for all the support you have given for this webinar to happen. Thank you, sir. I thank Dr. Bashir, National President in charge of IHMA, for inaugurating our session. Thank you, sir. I thank Dr. Anantharaman, National Secretary General, IHMA, for your keynote address. Thank you, sir. I thank all the office bearers of IHMA Mangalore, especially Dr. Greta Lobo, for introducing our speaker, Dr. Jaswant Patil. Special thanks to Dr. Praveen Raj, Dr. Prasanna Kumar, Dr. Tejasvi for your guidance. I thank all the IHMA national leaders of IHMA for all the support you have given for IHMA Karnataka chapter. And special thanks to Dr. Ganesh Das, President IHMA Kerala, for providing the Zoom platform for this webinar. I thank Dr. Sara, today's MC, Dr. Afrin Sheikh, for helping in question and answer session. Last but not the least, special thanks to my dear friend, Dr. Deepu, for help and technical support for the smooth functioning of the webinar. I would like to say that this webinar is a beginning of a new webinar series. In the month of June, we are going to have Saukhya 2021, a series of webinar regarding thyroid and diabetes. I request everyone to join Saukhya webinar series. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So this concludes the webinar. Thank you all.